Good morning. Yesterday, President Obama announced his fix for the housing crisis. And as near as I can tell, what's going to happen is those people that are current on their payments are going to get a break of $200 to $300 a month. And those people that bought subprime loans, those are the folks that bought zero down loans with either bad or very poor credit, probably no record of job history. Many of them probably one day on the job go down and sign their names without the proper credit or the proper down payment to buy a home at an inflated interest rate that 4 or 5 years down the road is going to jump the payment up and double it. Well, I haven't read the actual proposal in full, but I read enough of it to know that Obama is proposing the following. First of all, he wants to help those people that are current on their payments. Now, what about those people that aren't current on their payments? What are the guidelines? They're coming out with guidelines on March the 4th. So you all please read very carefully what those guidelines say is going to happen to the people that are behind on their payments. And bear in mind, this is a voluntary arrangement between the mortgage lender. All the government is doing is giving incentives, kickbacks, if you will, of your tax money and my tax money to put this plan into operation. It's simply not going to solve the problem, as we'll discover here in a moment. But let's get back to the actual program itself. As near as I can tell, and I've been a real estate broker for the last 26 years here in Texas and work with a lot of mortgage people, we're probably looking at a savings of $200 to $300 a month for the people that are in danger of losing their homes or in danger of going into the pre-foreclosure folks. Now, look, that's a good thing. I'm not opposed. You can find good in anything. But what I'm saying is that's just a temporary fix because 4 or 5 years down the road, after Obama gets himself reelected, okay, then those payments go back up again. It's an adjustable rate mortgage. All right, so that's not going to work. For the people in the subprime situation, I'm all in favor of bringing back the debt to loan ratio to 31%. But the fact of the matter is, to do it with government taxpayer money and do it only temporarily for a period of 4 or 5 years is not going to fix the problem. It's just postponing it. If you want to get to the problem, you've got to go to the root of the problem, which is the comments that I've made on the Federal Reserve earlier and will likely return to over and over again until you realize, folks, what's going on. All right, so we've got $200 or $300 a month more coming in. That's great. And I think that's a good thing. I really think after the way the government has been so lax in its regulation of our lives and our fortunes with our retirement plans, people have lost 50% of what they've saved. To give them $200 or $300 a month to keep a home they can probably no longer afford is just a drop in the bucket. Listen, if it were the people of the United States of America versus the federal government, if it were possible to have a lawsuit like that today, I think we would all win $1 million. Every taxpayer in this country, head of household, would probably win $1 million judgment plus punitive damages as well. Instead of giving us those damages that you've done by your lax regulation and by your fractional banking system that has enslaved our children and our grandchildren, and I'm going to keep returning to this over and over again, what you do is give it to the banks. You give more of it to the thieves who've ruined us and put us into economic slavery. President Obama, who did you appoint as your Secretary of Treasury? The head of the Federal Reserve of New York. You put the guy, and New York is the most powerful. Don't ever underestimate the fact that New York is still the centralized power in this country. Okay. Now, let's go back again to a very simple, fair illustration. You want to buy a $100,000 house. You go to the bank and you borrow $100,000. You put $80,000. You put $20,000 down. The people that got us into the problem didn't put anything down. Didn't have any credit. Didn't have any job history. And now we're being asked to come in and, as taxpayers, make up for those poor choices. That's unfair. It's not right. It's something that the American people ought to be outraged and angry about. And then you make him pay back the interest first, and the principal is paid on the back end. Why not just simply divide the interest equally between divide the payment of let's say it's $1,000, put 500 toward interest, 500 toward principal, so that people can actually become homeowners, and let them pay their notes in a new United States currency, not a United States Treasury note, Mr. President. That's the right thing to do. But here's what you did. You said, okay, if you make your payments on time and I do you this great big favor of helping you keep in your homes for a period of 5 years. Notice they selected 5 years. That gets President Obama reelected. Temporary help to make sure of his reelection in 5 years. That's what's going on behind the scenes, folks. Okay, I'm not stupid. I wasn't born yesterday. But if you make all your payments perfectly and on time, okay, then what they do is they give you up to $5,000 off your principal. Big deal. Take it and shove it up your you-know-what. What this country needs is a fundamental banking reform. And that brings me to the next point. The next leg of the stool that President Obama is going to be talking to us about is fixing to get credit flowing again. You know how they're going to do that? They're going to give more of your tax dollars, trillions of it, to the people that are robbing you. They're not going to change the fundamental problem that I'm going to describe here in a moment to you. They're not going to give you a simple 15-year or 30-year mortgage with one half to principal and one half to interest. You ought to be angry about that. I want you to get your children and your grandchildren around you now. I want you to hug them. And I want, if not for yourselves, I want you to make sure that those kids that you love so much are given an opportunity to move into a home and own it in 10 or 15 years. I want you to put those kids, I want you to put real honest money in their hands, not United States Treasury notes. Now, I want to guarantee you one thing, folks. There are two ways this country is gonna run. One is that when it collapses, and it's not a matter of if, this country is going to go into runaway inflation with all this cash that's being injected into our economy. The biggest, in 1 month, he's injected more money into this economy than we can absorb as a nation, and paying off political allies, the Democratic governors and the construction companies who put them in office. And by the way, I am calling now for a congressional investigation of this new public-private partnership. There's just something about that leaves a sour taste in my mouth. Public-private partnership between the doctors and the United States government who are forming this new medical records technology. Folks, we can't even afford to go to the doctor anymore. We've lost our health insurance. We need a health insurance plan that I'm going to propose in the next few days here that will actually work and get people in the doctor's office. Forget about getting perfect medical records. If we can't show up to the doctors for treatment, there's no point in having medical records. And let me tell you this, I'm predicting right now that public-private partnership, you need to look into the financial affairs of every one of these people that President Obama refers to even in his inaugural speech, about this group of doctors in a public-private partnership that are going to be given billions of dollars of your tax money in order to form this medical records efficiency program that they're going to set up. I'm going to tell you right now, I smell something rotten here. I do, and I want you folks to investigate this. Those of you who are listening to this tape now, investigate this so-called public-private partnership where billionaires are being created with your tax dollars in mind. We need a national health plan. Not a nationalized health plan, but a national health plan designed by health insurance agents who are out there in the field dealing with people and families every day who can't afford these extremely high premiums. But now, I'll tell you the country's going in one of two directions. We're either going to be centralized and more centralized, and I'm calling for the decentralization of the banking system and many other systems in our country. And then if the whole thing collapses, which it surely will, our new savior, President Obama, is going to fly over in Air Force One, and he's going to kiss cheeks with all those European people over there, and they're going to form a new world order, and it's even going to be more centralized. But fractional banking, you better believe, is going to continue. This business of creating money out of nothing and asking you to go to work every day, every single day, to pay interest. You'll never own anything in this system. You'll be living paycheck to paycheck. You will be an economic slave, and certainly the first black president of the United States ought to want to free his people, white and black, from this economic slavery known as the Federal Reserve System and fractional reserve banking. More to come. God bless you.